show planned for you this evening. Lots of things happening on set here in the PCTV studios. So sit back and relax. Coach Mick and I are going to break down all the sports from last week and all the local games as we head into the home stretch, as we're heading into November, playoff time, all kinds of good things happening. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Monday Morning Quarterback.
Yeah.
At POTTSTOWN Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. POTTSTOWN Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of POTTSTOWN Insurance, and we're in your community.
This portion of the POTTSTOWN Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by Security 5 for all your commercial and residential security system needs.
Here on the POTTSTOWN Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback, Dave Reiner, joined by Jim Mick, as we get ready to look at all the last weekend's actions, as we had a whole bunch of things revolving around one game, really, which was going to sort of determine where everything fell after that. And, Coach, we talked last week a lot about the big game at Pennypacker Field, which was PV undefeated in the Pac-10, only one loss overall, going in to take on Rick Pennypacker's gang. And that game certainly did not upset anybody if they were on the orange and brown side, that's for sure. But Scotty Reed and his gang rolled into Pottsgrove and win handily 49-21.
Great crowd there, too, and that's the way it should be for high school football, and it's a championship game. So for us from here on the show, we'd like to congratulate Scott Reed and his staff and all his players and fans down there. And, you know, this was a long time. It wasn't a long time coming, but it culminated with the championship on Friday night. But they've been knocking at the door for the last couple of years. Didn't get by Springford and Pottsgrove, but they were always good games. And then last year in the playoffs, they went down to North Penn, and by darn, they should have beat North Penn last year. They put up a great performance. So, boy, PERK Valley is going to be good for the next couple of years.
Well, it is their first outright championship, and they had shared in '98 and also in 2007. So, again, hats off to Scott Reed and his staff. But, boy, you know, it's funny. We talked about some matchups. I know the coaching staffs went out there and put some good players against each other, and we had to talk about some of those matchups. You know, Seth Johansson, who was on the show as one of the players of the week, went up against the big boy from Pottsgrove, Patrick Finn, and fought him tooth and nail. We had Holland out there on the corner going up against Fowler. We had all these little games within the games, and boy, PV really came out well and played very hard.
Well, Dave, you know as well as I do that championships, and I think Scotty will agree with this, as good as they are offensively, with all their players, etc. They are very good. You're not going to win a championship unless you're good on defense. And they got Sean Sedgwick, they got Seth Johansson, they got that Holland kid that went out and played Michael Fowler man-to-man the whole game. And I loved what the kid said in the newspaper after the game. He said, I was nervous going out there. He said, but I sat and I watched tapes all week. And you know, that shows the dedication of these kids and the results in many cases.
Well, absolutely. And again, you know, Pottsgrove had not lost a home Pac-10 game since 2006, which tells you their dominance, is particularly at their home field, which is now called Pennypacker Field, named after their coach. But, you know, that's a long time not to lose a home game. And not only did PV go in there and beat them, as you mentioned, but they beat them handily. And defensively is certain an area where I think they often get overlooked because they're so proficient offensively. You know, they have so many weapons led by, you know, their sophomore quarterback, Steven Sturm, who we've been talking about here all year long. But, you know, defensively, they're just doing a job, and they're holding Pottsgrove's rush game down, which not many teams do, Coach.
Indicators of that success are PV held Devin Fink to 28 yards on 11 carries. They held Michael Fowler, an outstanding wide receiver, to 1 catch, an 80-yard touchdown pass. And they sacked Verdone 5-6 times. And they jumped out to a 21-0 lead, and I thought, oh boy, Katie, bar the door. But it does say something about Pottsgrove's championship ideas and how they play the game to win. And they came back and closed it down to 21-14, and then PERK Valley took off again. And
well, you know, I talked to Rick Pennypacker, and he told me, he said flat out, he said they were more physical than we were, and they were much faster and tougher than we anticipated. And so that certainly is a feather in the cap of the PV guys and what they were able to do. I know Scotty Reed had mentioned the fact that they wanted to play a game at that fast level, like a playoff type game, so the kids can understand the how fast the game moves at that point. And they certainly did adjust and adapt very well. And like I said, knocked off a very good Pottsgrove team, 49-21 on their home field.
David, I'm looking forward to PV in the playoff. I think they're going to surprise a number of people, and I don't care what rank they have or anything. They're going to surprise some people. And
Pottsgrove's still in it yet. They're still alive in the District 1 AAA playoff, so don't write them off yet. I'm sure Rick Pennypacker will have those kids practicing very hard this week and looking for a bounce-back game that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show as to who they play next week. But again, congratulations to the whole PV community, football community, school district, and everybody. That's a big championship under their belt, and congratulations again. Well, you know, another team that's playing very well that we got an opportunity to see a couple of weeks ago down at Methacton, who was sort of peaking at the end of the year, and unfortunately they will not be able to make the playoffs. They didn't have enough points, but Springford, Jim, is playing very, very well. They have that offense rolling. They're putting up points and yards, and Brandon Leecraft, the quarterback, is really coming into his own here at the end of his senior season. They knock off O&J 49-13.
Well, you mentioned his name, Leecraft, and he certainly has improved since the beginning of the season. He was 13 out of 16 for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. He very much improved football player, and that shows with the performance of the team. And they've performed well on offense, defense, and special teams, and it's a shame they're not going to have a shot to be in the playoff.
Yes.
With a 7-3 record.
Yeah, especially, like I said, the way they're playing now, they are really, really peaking. But, you know, you talk about balance, and I looked at, they had 185 yards rushing and 186 yards passing, so that certainly is, you can't get much more balance to that between running the ball and passing the ball on offense. And, you know, they have a lot of seniors. It was senior night. I know Coach Brubaker wanted to get a lot of those kids in the ball game, and he was able to do that. But also, looking to the future, 2 good running backs, Simpson and Gibson, both over 100 yards.
Well, I'm looking forward to that game next year between PV and Springford because, as you said, PV's very young, and Springford has some young players also, and that's a great rivalry and always a tough ball game right down to the end.
Well, again, you know, talk a little bit about Owen-J. Roberts. They're still sort of searching. They've still been rotating quarterbacks, although Mitch Bradford played most of the snaps. They had been going with a freshman, Dawson Stewart. But, you know, they sort of settled in there, and he had a pretty good game. He ran the ball 24 times, passed 8 more times, and had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. But still, you know, people are trying to find out, you know, what's going on over at Owen-J. They just haven't been able to get on that win column, Coach.
But you know what? They have a tendency to move the ball between the 20-yard lines. All season they seem to move the ball. But then they stub their toes. They fumble the football. They get a penalty. The other team has a big play and gets the momentum. But O&J, I think, is a better football team than their record shows. And Coach Barr keeps saying each week how proud he is of their effort. They haven't quit. And maybe they can win these last 2 ball games coming down the home stretch.
Yeah, they only have 2 more games to go, but at 1-6 and 1-8 overall, not a great year over Bucktown. And certainly that's a school that has a great football tradition. Henry Burnett and Joe Edwards and the guys over there did a heck of a job. And Tom Barr has had some very good seasons over there as well. But I know they went to a new defense this year. They were all excited. They were going to change some things. But unfortunately for the Cats, it hasn't worked out real well as they have 2 games to go in their season, but they're on the short end of that game, 49-13, courtesy of the Rams of Springford. You know, Coach, there was one more game on Friday night, and, you know, we had Mike Felix on as our player of the week, and I'll tell you what, as Mike Felix goes, Upper Perk goes. Again, another big game, almost 300 yards on the ground and 2 TDs. Had a great game out of the secondary, making tackles and breaking up passes and stuff. But I tell you right now, Tom Hans has to be very, very happy in his first years. He's got those guys playing well. 3rd game in a row they've won, 21-7 over Phoenixville.
Well, he's another guy that you're going to have to consider as Coach of the Year. He's won first 3-game win streak in 8 years, and they did it against Phoenixville despite 4 turnovers, and that's hard to believe that you turn the ball over 4 times and you win 21-6. But he got that mark in the league up to 4-4, and they've made big progress this year. And as you and I have talked, this Mike Felix, a junior, he's a good running back.
He is, and you talked about Zeke Hallman. He's another one of those sophomore quarterbacks that they're coming along and getting better and better. And I know you and I have talked in a lot of years we've been doing this, Coach, that you want to see progress made in the season. That is a good mark of good coaching and the players not quitting. And Upper Perk certainly falls into that category of Tom Hans and his staff doing a good job as they are getting better each week. And like I said, they're up to the 500 mark, 4-5 overall, but 4-4 in the league with a chance to finish over 500. And I'll tell you, that's a heck of a feat for them.
Great feat for Upper Perk, and I look forward to their improvement even next year with his program in now going into the 2nd year. And, you know, we can talk about Phoenixville. Coach Breisblock thought his defense played well, which it did for the most part. But here again, for some reason, they stubbed their toe also. They get penalties, drives are stalled, too many turnovers, and Phoenixville is struggling also. But according to him, they're still playing hard, and that's a credit to the kids.
And again, you know, something that gets overlooked in this new age of football is with the wide open and the spreads is defense. And Upper Perk's defense played very well in holding Phoenixville down. They stopped them 3 times on fourth and less than 2. So their defense came up big and got that stops and was able to get the offense back on the field. So congratulations to Tom Hans and his gang as they're up to 500 in the league. And again, Coach Brisblatt and his guys, I'm sure they're very frustrated trying to figure out what's going on. I know he was upset that the offense didn't perform better, particularly this late in the year.
Well, you know as well as I do, too. It's the players that win the games. The coaches get them lined up right and give them a program to run, a philosophy, etc. But unless you have the players, you're not going to be successful.
Well, you know, then we had a couple of games on Saturday afternoon. Now, with Pottstown not having lights this year, we usually have another extra game on Saturday. And Pottstown goes over to Methacton, though, and doesn't fare so well down there as Methacton is able to put up 56 points on him. And again, a guy that, you know, I don't know what kind of awards he's going to get at the end of the season, but Connor Derrickson is certainly a guy that's up for league MVP. I know they usually pick somebody like that from one of the championship teams or the championship team in this case, but I tell you, Connor Derrickson has really done a heck of a job. You know, he ran the ball for over 100 yards, he passed for close to that, and he had 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground and 2 through the air. He's done a lot of things for Methacton this year.
Well, the most important thing you forgot, though, he was homecoming king.
He's homecoming king.
Homecoming king. So
I'm glad he didn't play for you because he wouldn't have been able to even been on the court for that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it shows you what the kids think of Connor Derrickson, and as you mentioned all the statistics and things, and they're outstanding. He's 50-some yards from being 1,000 rushing and passing. He's had a great career down there, and let's give credit to Coach LaPree. It's a 4th straight winning season in a row, and he certainly has brought that program around where they're a force in this league.
Yeah, they certainly are. And again, they're in that log jam tied for second at 6-2 and 6-3 overall, with a slight outside chance at the playoffs. They are currently at number 19, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the year too, or excuse me, in the show. But again, they ran for almost 300 yards on the ground, so they did a good job of spreading the ball around. Besides Connor Derrickson and Pottstown, again doing what we've been talking about. We almost almost sound like a broken record week in and week out. Coach, if you want to be a stat guy and look at the stats, they're putting them up. They rushed the ball. They did a lot of things offensively, but they can't tackle on defense very well. They don't stop people, and they have, again, too many penalties and turnovers.
Well, according to the write-up of the paper, too, both teams sort of emptied their bench midway through the third quarter, and Pottstown put in this kid by the name of Isaiah Mays, a sophomore, and he ran for over 50 yards and a touchdown, and hopefully that Pottstown has some up-and-coming youngsters that are going to solidify that program so they can play, get a couple Scotty Glenn's, etc. And Dave Reitnauer.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're going to have those kind of kids in the wings or not. I don't know. I know they're ninth graders up playing on the JV team, which, some people think that's a good idea, some don't. You have mixed emotions and mixed feelings on that as well, but they do have the ninth grade team up playing with the JVs, getting them acclimated to high school football, maybe a little bit sooner and a little quicker. But, their offensive and defensive lines have had some problems, although Ernie McCalvin, that we talked about, has had a heck of a year. He's only a sophomore, but I know the coaching staff at Pottstown, Coach Grinstead, and the guys are, trying to find a way to get some more consistency, because the Wise boys in Tinson, they have some players.
They have some players. They just don't have enough. And, Dave, it is difficult to sit and read and watch Pottstown, because you talk about O&J, Phoenixville having a great football history. Pottstown has a great football history, too. Over the years, Pottstown has always been very formidable, a lot of championship teams, and they've struggled the last couple years, and hopefully they'll get it turned around in the very near future.
And hopefully they can get some more kids out, and the enrollment will bump up a little bit. We need a little spike there as well to draw some kids. And then finally, the last game was Boyertown, and Coach Parkinson, again, another example of a team getting better and better and better as the season goes on, and some record-breaking performances on Saturday as Boyertown knocks off PJP 58-28, and gets their record up to 5-3 in the Pac-10, and they're playing very well at the end of the season. Coach.
I think Coach Parkinson and his staff over there have done a commendable job. They started out having some tough sledding, but they've seemed to have straightened that out. I mean, they rushed for 586 yards. That's unbelievable in 48 minutes, 586 yards. So we got to give credit to the offensive line.
Absolutely.
Because no runner goes anywhere unless somebody blocks for him. And George only threw 3 passes, and good. The old philosophy was run it until they stop it,
exactly.
And that's just what he did.
Yep. Well, we have Boyertown Phil on the line waiting patiently. We were waiting to get to him when we talked about Boyertown, so I'm sure he has something he wants to add. Is he still there? Oh, okay, maybe he couldn't hold on any longer. We apologize to Phil. He was holding on, but he always has something to add. But they did have not only their quarterback, Lawrence Garnett, who's really coming on strong at the end of his junior year, but Mitch Warner and also Will Scholl with over 100 yards. So that's part of that 500 total yards offensively on the ground for the Bears.
You talk about, and we both talked about, how much they have improved since the beginning of the season. I'm waiting to see Friday night when they go against Pottsgrove. Pottsgrove's going to be angry over their latest loss, and Boyertown wants to end the season on a high note. So we'll see. That should be a good ball game come Friday night.
Okay, well, that'll about do it for this first segment of our show. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we come back. We're going to forecast what's happening this coming week and also look at the playoff picture right here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Score with big savings at Saratoga Thriftway. Our large selection of food, drinks, and household items at great prices keep you coming back. stop by the deli and order big party platters so you can be fully prepared for the big game. As always, our friendly staff and fast checkout will make your shopping experience quick and enjoyable. Saratoga Thriftway is celebrating our 14th anniversary of serving the Tri-County area, so stop by and check us out so we can check you out.
Hey, we're back here on the VIKINGS Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. Dave Ridenauer, joined by Coach Mich. As again, we want to look at the playoff, how they're forming up right now and shaping up, and also look at this week's games coming up quickly. And Coach, we talked briefly about the playoffs, and in the District 1 4A, Coachville and Quakertown still on top at 9-0. Coachville with a couple of more points because of quality wins or on something on those lines. Quakertown number 2 at 9-0, but PERK Valley at 8-1 is sitting in that 10 slot with 1,060 points. It looks like they're a shoe-in for the playoffs.
Well, the first team I want to talk about maybe very quickly is Coatesville. They are outstanding every year, and they went to the state championship game a year ago. But they've been a formidable team for the last number of years, and I think they will be again. But as I said before, don't count PERK Valley out. They could surprise a lot of people. Why? Because they're good on offense and they're good on defense. So watch them.
Well, they won 2 postseason games last year, first time in school history, so they have something to build on. They do have a little bit of experience in that venue. And then in the 3As, Pottsgrove is still pretty solid in there in the 5th slot. And they will, they only take 8 teams from the 3A, so they have to stay on pace here. And a big win this weekend would secure them in the playoffs, but they're in there with 1,000 points. Springfield Delco at 9-0, still the number 1 seed in the 3A.
Pottsgrove can beat any of those teams. They get the game going the way they want, run the ball, and mix in the pass, play solid defense, which they're capable of doing. They can beat anybody in that AAA classification.
And I'm sure they'll probably run into Academy Park again. It's been a good game for them the last few years. Pottsgrove's had an opportunity to get the best of them, but last year Academy Park was able to knock them off. But that's always a good football game. All right, Coach, let's look at what we have coming up. Let's start on Thursday night now. There is a game. I apologize for thinking that was on Friday, but that is Thursday. Upper PERK with that 3-game win streak, that 4-4 now, is going to stroll into PV and take on Scotty Reed and the Pac-10 champion Vikings. How do you look at that one?
Well, I see 2 teams on a high. They're both on high. What Upper PERK's done the last number of weeks and what PV has done all season. From a standpoint, PV probably has a little too much talent on both sides of the ball, but Tommy Hans and his Indians will come over and represent themselves very well.
And I'll tell you, PV better be ready to look for Mike Felix.
Yep.
He's done a heck of a job running the football. As he goes, so do the Indians. And our PCTV Network Sports Game of the Week will be over at Boyertown, a game we briefly talked about, Coach. Pottsgrove, a little sore and licking their wounds after getting drubbed by the Vikings of PV last week, travels to Boyertown. And again, you talk about a team who's playing pretty good and on a high. How about Coach Parkinson's gangs over there?
Well, if Coach Parkinson can come out and come even close to the yardage gain from the rushing standpoint, they got a shot of keeping the game close into the 4th quarter and maybe pulling an upset over the Grove. You don't know.
Well, that's what you and I always talked about, keeping it close in the 4th quarter, and then you never know what can happen. Again, if they can keep Warner and Garnett and those guys running the football and play some good defense, that's Sajak and some of those guys that we like defensively. And
Murphy,
you talk about their offensive line is really starting to peak now as well.
And Dave, all the years we've done this show, this is 1 year, and I could be wrong making this statement, but I don't think there's been an upset all year. I think everybody that was expected to win during the course of the year has won, and that's odd because usually there are some upsets.
Yeah, most of the teams has gone true to form so far. Now, Methacton takes on Phoenixville on a Friday night. Again, Methacton's last game of the year in the Pac-10, and they're still holding on to a thread of trying to make the playoffs, and they travel over to Washington Field. And again, Phoenixville's, we talked about their woes and their problems and shortcomings here all year long. And again, it looked like Methacton has a good opportunity to go in there and win another ball game Friday night.
Absolutely. They got too much talent right now with Derrickson and Dante Thomas. They just have too much from both sides of the ball for Phoenixville to even threaten a victory.
So it looks like Methacton, again, if they show up there and play good, solid football, should come out on top on Friday night. We have PJP taking on O&J. Now, again, there's two teams that have struggled. Both those two teams with one win in the league. Pope John Paul had a good game out of their quarterback Duffy last week. He threw the ball for nearly 300 yards, but defensively has been their problem. O&J, as you mentioned, Coach, earlier, seems to move the ball okay between the 20s, but can't cash it in that red zone offense. And again, it could be a game that either team could win.
Coach Graver has them playing football, and proof of that is at the half against Boyertown, it was 27-21, close ball game. And then on the fourth play of the second half, Boyertown put off a long run, and the game, for all intent and purposes, was over. But Coach Graver has done a good job down there. They got this Matt Duff kid that's coming along as a quarterback. Jason Loophole, the receiver, is the leading receiver in the league at this point in time. So it's going to take him a while to get the program where he'd like it to be.
Okay, and then our final game of the weekend is Springford at Pottstown on Saturday afternoon. Again, we talked about Springford right now playing as well as they played all year long here at the end of the season. Pottstown better be ready because they are clicking on all cylinders.
Well, that's another mismatch. It looks like another mismatch, but here again, you never know. And as you said before, Pottstown does have some talented players in the Weiss brothers, and they got Tinson, and they got the good the defensive lineman McAlvin, yep. a good player. But on paper, it does look like a mismatch. Okay, well, that'll about do it for Coach and I. And again, we looking forward to next week as we're rounding out the end of the Pac-10 season as we head into November. Where does the time go? But for Coach Jim Mich, I'm Dave Reinauer, the Monday Morning Quarterback. We're going to take a quick time out. We come back, we're going to meet the coach and the player of the week right here on set.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
Long last.
Date night has arrived.
And you want to make it something special.
Something romantic.
You've heard a lot of great things about Panavino
in the new downtown district.
Fine Italian dining.
With a cosmopolitan flair.
Drinks before dinner at the bar?
Why not?
Then it's just us.
Savoring the creations of Chef David Brennan.
What's this?
Dinner and a movie for two?
Only $50?
Panavino Italian Restaurant
truly is the beginning of the perfect evening.
In the new downtown Reading.
Grab your mug and your kilt and come on down to Doc Watson's. We have great food, drinks, and different bar games. Our nightly specials will keep you coming back for more. Join us Monday through Friday, 4 to 6, for some fun at happy hour with $1 drinks. The pub is newly renovated and under new management. It will surely become your new favorite place. We're located at 1080 East Philadelphia Avenue in Gilbertsville. Doc Watson's, a true Irish pub.
At Vlahos Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Insurance, and we're in your community.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
This portion of the Vlahos Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by FUJIYAMA, the total Japanese steakhouse and sushi bar experience.
Again, brought to you by FUJIYAMA, but also sponsored by the Digital Print Works, my buddy Phil Lang, and also Charlie Pierce and the Trophy and Plaque Shack. I want to thank those guys for helping us out to make this segment of the show possible each week. And again, I want to congratulate and welcome to the show Scott Reed in his 11th year as the head coach at PERK Valley and an outright championship in the Pac-10. And Taiyir Wilson, one of his big guns, number 21 for the Vikings. First of all, congratulations, guys, and welcome to the show. Big win and a big year. Congratulations, guys. Thank you. Now, again, obviously, you know, all things, once the season got rolling and things started to sort of form out the way they did, that all things were pointing towards this game on Friday night. And Scott, tell us a little bit about the preparation, what went into getting yourself ready to play Pottsgrove at Pottsgrove, which is always tough.
I'd say it's almost been a year of preparation getting ready for these guys. They're such a good program. They historically have been such a powerhouse in the Pac-10. They have obviously a number of championships on their belt. And last year we went into that game, I felt we were a little too conservative. Their defense is too good to just sit there and think you're going to run base plays against them and then be okay. So we tried to put a couple things together, change a couple things up with how we motion, and just a couple gadget plays here and there to see if we could get them off balance. And luckily, it was able to work out for us. Now,
Taiyir, being one of the seniors and the leaders of the ball club, obviously it was a big game. You don't like to look ahead. You like to take each game each week, and you know that's what all the coaches say and all the players say. But I know I've been on both sides of that issue. Obviously, this is a game you had circled on your calendar for a while.
Yes, it is.
Now, what kind of things did you have to do to get yourself ready and help get the team ready for Friday night against Pottsgrove?
Honestly, we stayed in the film room. Me, Mike, and a couple other guys stayed watching film 24/7 on Mikey Fowler. We wanted to be able to shut him down so he wouldn't be able to get any passes or good runs on us. And same with Fink too, with Seth and TJ and Patrick Finn. We called it FFF week, Fowler, okay. Fink, Finn. We wanted to make sure those guys were that we were
That's
coming
all
for.
good. Well, even going back a couple of weeks, you've been able to knock off, the 3 big teams all in 1 year. You knock off Methacton, Springford, and Pottsgrove, and that's certainly something that is very, very good for you guys in your program. Obviously, want to get to that level where consistently they're going to say, okay, now we got to beat Pottsgrove, beat PV to win the league.
Yeah, it's really hard. Especially Springford and Pottsgrove, they've been a monkey on our back the last couple of years, and both coaches, Brubaker and Pennypacker, do an amazing job. So does their staff, and their kids buy into what they're doing. So it's hard winning this league. Every week it's just a new challenge, and those teams, as well as everybody else, have been very formidable, and a lot of coaches do a really nice job putting things together to get ready for us, and luckily we've been able to come out on top this year.
Now, did you think going into the ball game it was imperative for you guys to start off well and not get yourself in a hole, maybe try to get up on them and score early as you guys did in that ball game, Taiyir?
Oh yeah, we came into the ball game heads on straight, and our goal was just to score. We wanted to run the score up and put them in a position where they had to pass and they couldn't really use Fink in the way that they wanted to. And it worked until they started to get momentum and come back, but us being the Vikings, we were able to finish the game strong.
Cool. Now, you knew they were going to make a little bit of a run. They weren't going to quit on you, Scott. Yeah. You know that's not their makeup, and Rick's going to give them a good halftime speech if necessary, whatever it is to make some adjustments. And you knew they were going to make a run, but you guys were able to thwart that off and play real well in the second half.
Honestly, I didn't feel comfortable until we took a knee with 2 minutes to go in the game, just because they have the ability to strike quick this year, and Fowler really does give you a tough time because every year you're able to really try to put 11 guys focus on against the run. And this year with Mike on the outside, it's just how are you going to defend it? And we decided, okay, if they're going to beat us, we're going to put our best corner against their best athlete, and hopefully we can win the better part of that battle. I think Michael did a good job against Michael, and we were able to put the other 10 guys on the run. But, man, they're tough now that they can run and pass with especially with that threat on the outside.
Well, it's funny because you talked to our special guest, Dr. Scott Glenn, that played at POTTSTOWN, and he was there, and he said, you guys tackled so well too, and that's something you guys have done all year, and not the biggest team, but after them, and you got your little defensive schemes that you run. I'm sure you're very happy with the way you played defensively.
Matt Young and Tim Conley. Matt's our defensive coordinator, and Tim Conley works very closely with them. Do a great job getting ready. We spent a lot of time planning for each game. Every single game we try to get as many tendencies as we can, and obviously people break them. But the biggest thing is our kids bought in to what we're trying to do. We have a vision, and we're just happy that they're able to go out and execute our vision on both sides of the ball.
How much fun are you guys having right now? I read some of the quotes after the game, and some of the guys said, man, it's so much fun to play football right now, and I'm so glad I'm a part of that. How much fun are you guys having right now, Taiyir?
Everyone's having a lot of fun. It feels good to be on top of the league for once, as we lost to Pottsgrove our sophomore and junior year, so to know that we beat them going out in our senior year, it feels amazing.
Now, even school-wise, walking around the hallways and stuff, can you feel that? I've always said that if the football team has a good year, it affects the whole school, and all the enthusiasm, all the school spirit. What's it like walking around the hallways?
It feels good to know that not only did the football team win, but field hockey team won, water polo won, so we're bringing home a lot of Pac-10 championships this year.
Okay, so it's contagious, and I'm sure you feel that. You can sense that, Scott. That's all part of it. I know you're moving your game up to Thursday night because of Halloween and all those things, and you want to make sure you provide an opportunity for your fans to come out and watch, and I'm sure you're excited about the enthusiasm you guys have generated throughout the PV system.
We have a great community, and we have great administrators who support us. Last year in the playoffs, man, they let us walk through the elementary schools. We felt like rock stars. I know our kids did.
Yeah.
And that comes from an administrative level to let us do that. Our fans are great. We're filling our seats every home game, and it's a lot of fun for us to play at home because we just know our fans are behind us and our school community is behind us, and it is a lot of fun. There's a good energy in the air.
Now, you have a short week. You have to get ready for Thursday, and again, you certainly don't want to have that little hangover, if you will. You don't want to look past anybody, but you play Upper PERK, who's won 3 in a row. What kind of things you do now to keep the guys focused and, as you said, looking straight ahead and forward and for Thursday night?
We have to practice like we did against Pottsgrove. Practice with that same intensity and same speed that we had to make sure we don't look past Upper PERK, just like we did last year.
Now, I know you're doing the up-tempo, your speed. Does that make your practices a lot more fun, a lot more activity, no guys standing around? Tell us a little bit about that as well, Scott.
I think just going to it a few years ago, yes, there is no standing around, and we really try to make a point to keep things moving. My offensive line coach, Jason Basil, doesn't always like that because he wants to correct everything.
Right.
And then I'm over there stewing because I want to keep moving. Throughout camp, we use a lot of film. We don't stop practice a whole lot. So we watch film, and we do most of our corrections off the field. And it creates good tempo. Some days, if we feel like we're not getting enough, we'll put some music on and stuff like that. I can't stand their music, but we always fight over the music. But that's always a fun part of practice. And really, last week was a lot of fun because he and Mike Holland were going at it. I mean, he was Mike Fowler on offense, and Mike Holland was playing Mike Fowler on defense. And really good competition we had last week in practice. I hope we continue this week because I think Upper PERK's riding is coming in on a lot of with a lot of momentum.
Well, it must have worked out well too. I mean, Fowler did catch one for an 80-yard touchdown pass, but other than that, Mike Holland did a heck of a job. So that little inner competition sure helped out, huh?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I helped him prepare pretty well. I caught him a couple of times with a couple of deep bombs like that, like Mikey did, but Mike, he was on lockdown. He had some good defense.
That's awesome. Now, as a senior, again, now you have some sophomores. You have the quarterback. You have a running back. You have some other guys that are sophomores that are playing big roles on your squad. How do you keep them in line, focused? Do they ask you for some advice? What kind of things you do to keep those younger guys rolling?
Oh, well, it's the future, It's Steven Sturm, David Williams, and Justin Jaworski. They're great athletes. They honestly just do it all themselves. Dave is solid in practice. Jaws runs great routes, and Sturm can put the ball on you from anywhere on the field.
I know he impressed a lot of people on Friday night, people that hadn't had a chance to see PV, and he did a heck of a job. He's running your offense the way you want. You talked about that progression, and he certainly really is moving along and getting better each week.
Steven's a guy who's put a lot of time in. We've been preparing for this for a long time. We knew we had a huge void to fill, and we weren't going to fill that void completely. But I think with the offensive line playing the way they are and the athletes around Steven, he's been able to throw with a lot of confidence. And really his composure is what I think impresses me the most from a 10th grader. I mean, we went into this big game at Pottsgrove. I'm like, we're like, you ready? Yeah. That's it. That's all you're getting out of him.
Especially following Rasheen Stewart, who was certainly a guy that was one of the best athletes ever at PV, and certainly one in the league that was extremely well, and he plays at Villanova now, so it tells you the kind of talent that he had. And again, you look at here and you see all the things that you've been able to do offensively as your team stats, and second in the Pac-10, nearly 400 yards. But the thing it jumped out at me is you're number one in defense, and that says a lot because of these high-powered offenses. Sometimes trying to beat teams 50-48. Last team with the ball wins a lot of times, but you guys been able to do it, and defensively really where you stood above a lot of people.
Yeah, like I said, Coach Young and I talked in the offseason. We were talking about maybe playing around with a different defensive front and stuff like that, and he really truly believed when we put all the personnel on the whiteboard that we can do it. We got the guys, and we're just gonna have to roll with it. See what it looks like in 7-on-7, see what it looks like at scrimmages, and yeah, it's a work in progress. We moved guys around early in the season, but so as the season went on, I think Springfield was really the first game, maybe even Methacton, where I felt like, all right, I think we have our personnel in place, and these guys are doing some nice things.
Well, undefeated certainly would sound a lot better than one loss, even though you have clinched the outright championship. I'm sure you're going to be ready for Thursday night.
Yes, we will. I mean, practice this week is going to be tough. We probably have offense and defensive practice tomorrow, and then pregame on Wednesday. But going into Thursday, I think everyone's going to be good.
It will be hard not to overlook and look towards the playoffs. So how do you handle that as well?
I mean, we're kind of overlooking Upper Perk right now, so everyone needs to come back to earth a little bit to understand that we still have one more game left in the regular season before playoffs. So everyone just needs to stay focused.
Absolutely. Zeke Hallman and young quarterback and Mike Felix doing well as well. Well, we have your uncle waiting online there. I'm sure he has a couple of things he'd like to say to Scott. Tommy Reed, you're on the Monday Morning Quarterback with your nephew Scott, the Pac-10 champ, and also Taiyir Wilson. How you doing, Tom?
Well, I'm hanging out with my brother John here tonight, and we couldn't be prouder of our nephew Scott. It's been quite a ride. It's 11 years as head coach for him, and to win this thing outright is exciting for the Reed family, and boy, just a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's a big thing, and we were talking a little bit earlier, and I know we used to have so much fun with your dad up here, and he was certainly a guy that loved football, and you know, he and Coach Mich were big football guys and coached forever. I'm sure he'd be very, very proud as well, Scott, that what you've been able to accomplish for sure.
And let's not forget about the old boy Ronnie. Boy, he would be in his glory right now.
Absolutely, no doubt about it, for sure.
He probably want to be sitting next to Scotty.
Well, you know what he'd be doing? He'd be putting some helmet and shoulder pads on and want to get in some hitting drills and stuff like that this week for defense.
Yeah, he probably would, but he'd hurt himself.
Yeah, because I know he used to love to do that.
I also want to compliment Mr. Wilson there, number 21, man. He ran like a thoroughbred, and I know one thing, I wouldn't want to bring him down.
Well, he's been doing a heck of a job. He had a big game. He scored a couple of touchdowns and again, was a big part of the reason why PERK Valley was able to go into Pottsgrove and knock them off on Friday night.
Well, we have a couple more games to go, hopefully quite a few more games to go, and this is getting real exciting now, so hopefully we finish out strong.
Yep, I think so too. And Scotty, there's Uncle Tom there for you. Your number one fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of number ones. I think my wife's up there.
Yeah, she's up there.
My mom's
there.
It was a great night. My mom came running down. Her husband Stan came running down. My cousin Melissa was there. My sister was there. I shouldn't say about my sister because she's a Pottsgrove. She did not come on the field, Coach Pennypacker. She was loyal to the Falcons, but you know, both my uncles were there, my cousin Mich. It was really, it was amazing, and my 3 kids were there, and that was special.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, Tommy, well, listen, give us a call next week. We got to roll here. We're going to finish up with Scott.
You guys, and again, you know, we're looking for a nice finish, and Scott, congrats.
All right, man, thank you. Thanks again for calling.
Bye-bye.
Well, and again, I want to congratulate you guys and take time for taking time. I do want to say last Saturday, though, Bloomsburg 41. Westchester 10.
I was waiting to hear what I was going to hear about this one.
I just wanted to throw that in there as my Huskies came up.
I was trying to get through school because I always talk a lot of smack about Westchester.
And they're good this year too.
Bloomsburg took them to the woodshed.
Yeah, they did, 41-10. And
but I'm proud. Ezra Ranko's up there, and he's
he
played for us, and he's doing a great job on their defensive line. Yep. So.
And they're getting more and more guys from our league, our Pac-10, our area, going to Bloom and Westchester and Ship. You know,
Ross Pennypacker, Kutztown, so he's trying to create a Pac-10 All-Star team. I love it. I think it's great that our guys are out there in the league playing in college. That's a neat thing.
That's awesome. It is awesome. Well, I want to give you a little something from us here on the Monday Morning Quarterback. We have our certificate declaring you as the player of the week. Again, courtesy of Phil Lang and the Digital Print Works. And we also have our little mini Heisman, we like to say here, from Charlie Pierce and the Trophy and Plaque Shack for being named player of the week this week here on the Monday Morning Quarterback.
Thank you very much.
All right. Certainly welcome, Scott. It's always a pleasure. It's always a lot of fun talking to you. And good luck on Thursday night and the rest of the year. We'll be following you, Taiyir. Do it up. Finish your senior season strong. It goes by so quick, doesn't it? I mean, can you believe you're almost done? I mean, it's amazing.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It really is. It really is.
Well, thank you for having us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And again, Scott Reed, the Pac-10 champion, head coach in his 11th season, and also number 21, Taiyir Wilson. When we come back, we have a special guest, Dr. Scott Glenn. We're going to talk about everything from football to acting to motivation to the Marine Corps. Stick around. We're going to have a lot of fun right here on the VIKINGS Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Score with big savings at Saratoga Thriftway. Our large selection of food, drinks, and household items at great prices keep you coming back. Stop by the deli and order big party platters so you can be fully prepared for the big game. As always, our friendly staff and fast checkout will make your shopping experience quick and enjoyable. Saratoga Thriftway is celebrating our 14th anniversary of serving the Tri-County area, so stop by and check us out so we can check you out.
Grab your mug and your kilt and come on down to Doc Watson's. We have great food, drinks, and different bar games. Our nightly specials will keep you coming back for more. Join us Monday through Friday, 4 to 6, for some fun at happy hour with $1 drinks. The pub is newly renovated and under new management. It will surely become your new favorite place. We're located at 1080 East Philadelphia Avenue in Gilbertsville. Doc Watson's, a true Irish pub.
Long last,
Date night has arrived.
and you want to make it something special.
Something romantic
You've heard a lot of great things about Panavino,
in the new downtown district
fine Italian dining.
with a cosmopolitan flair.
Drinks before dinner at the bar?
Why not?
Then it's just us.
Savoring the creations of Chef David Brennan.
What's this?
Dinner and a movie for two.
Only $50?
Panavino Italian restaurant
Truly is the beginning of the perfect evening.
in the new downtown Reading.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
Taiyir, Wilson, and Scott Reed. Again, want to thank them and congratulate them for a great season and their honors here on the show. But again, I was really looking forward to this. Called my buddy, a guy I've known for a long time, a good relationship with, and through coach and player and friend, and just admiration for Dr. Scott Glenn. Scotty Glenn, as I knew him back in the day, now he's able to do all this stuff. Dr. Scott Glenn, welcome to the set and the Monday Morning Quarterback.
Coach Ridenauer, thanks for having me. It's good to see you. It's always good to see Coach Mich. All we need now is football dad Weller.
That's it.
And the outstanding Hank Burnett.
There you go.
All right.
I know. And I saw that you were over there for that. You know, I was so upset that I wasn't able to make it. I had to work that Friday night and wasn't there for the dedication. But I know you and Henry become pretty good friends, and he's a great guy.
All-around good family. Not just is he a good coach and a teacher, but an outstanding person. I had a chance to go to his 80th birthday, I believe it was, and his son John caught me off guard to speak. And I kind of got emotional because I saw a little bit of my dad and Coach Burnett.
Yeah. Well, I see a lot of your dad when I look over at you, man. It's amazing. Sage was a guy, and I know my mom and all the POTTSTOWN people. He's certainly one of the most popular people ever to come out of this area, and you certainly are following his footsteps right in there. And, you know, Coach Mick talked about back in the day when we played, and number 33 came out there and ran the ball pretty well.
Yeah. I was blessed. I was blessed to do a lot of things in football as well as off the field.
Well, you know what's funny, and again, if I could do some things over again, when I was coaching at POTTSTOWN High, I didn't pay attention enough to the smaller guys and some of the younger guys. And I remember Jeff Hartman was coaching you guys, you and Jeffrey Satterwhite, and then he said, man, let me tell you two names, Scott Glenn and Jeff Satterwhite. You remember those two names, and boy, you came up through the ranks and opened some eyes early.
Right. Well, you know, I was blessed to have outstanding coaches such as yourself on defense as well as special teams, Coach Weller, and a plethora of a bunch of players that kind of made me famous.
Well, your brother Stan also was a guy that I'm sure you sort of emulate a little bit, and he was a heck of a player. But your whole family and everybody, Randall and all the guys, Paul. I mean, there was some good times, and that picture is still where we're running that sweep. We got 33, 44, and 66 running that little sweep against Pottsgrove. That's one of the best pictures of all time. I mean, I was honored to give that to you, and that was amazing. And that was a great day because Coach Mich and I just did the Springford-Methacton game a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
They had college boards. Springford couldn't warm up at Methacton. They got off the bus and ran right out on the field like we did against Pottsgrove when you broke the league record, and that was awesome, man. That just brought back a lot of great memories, man. A lot of great memories, and I remember those shoes all taped up and all this stuff. Remember all the fun we had with all that stuff?
Yep.
We had a lot of fun. And then tell us a little bit about your collegiate career, because you know a lot of people don't know about it. You know, you went to a smaller school, West Virginia Tech, certainly a big-time football program, but not on the news a lot and not in the top 25 or whatever. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, now WVU is the parent college that took over West Virginia Tech.
Okay.
It's an engineering school, basically, so they shut down the football program. Again, I left Pottstown High, and I was blessed to play in college down there, where I'm currently all-time leading rusher. And now if they don't have football, I'll always be the all-time leading rusher.
Absolutely, yeah.
I was a two-time All-American down there, honorable mention, and I'm in the Hall of Fame as well as Alumni of the Year, 2012 and 2009.
Wow, that's awesome. And again, your education that you got down there, you always took serious, which, you know, is certainly another message. You know, we just had Taiyir Wilson on here, and he could sit here and talk to us like we're young men, you know, and he did a nice job talking with us and conversing, and I know you always took that education very seriously.
Education is important, Dave, and that's why I appreciate you bringing me on this program, all the stuff that you do for the student-athlete. My father always told me, and I learned in life, to make sure that you continue your education. Learning to deal with different people, places, and situations is important, just as important as the book aspects or the subject matter. But continued education with different people, places, and situations is important.
Well, I know you and I had the opportunity to work with one another with troubled kids, kids that had a little bit of an issue and could not get along real well in schools and settings and things. And you and I had the opportunity, and that was a good fortune for me because I really enjoyed that. I learned a lot from you, and it was sort of like a role reversal. I was the teacher, and you were the student, and now you were the teacher, and I was a student, and it was a good experience for me, and I know that really was a springboard for you for a lot of different things.
Well, I think it opened up the doors for a lot of adults that work within the program, but most importantly for the actual students that were in the school, the pupils. They were at-risk youths, and I think we did a lot to help them through the community, getting them back to the regular school districts within the area.
Yeah, and I think we were very fortunate that you and I could sort of relate to all those kids and those kind of situations in single-family homes and just all the, you talk about a plethora of things. There's a plethora of things that were in their way and obstacles they had to overcome, and that was a great experience for me, and I was really happy that you were able to bring me on board and do all those things. But it's amazing where life takes you. You know, it's amazing. It's a heck of a ride, and I know that you are a guy that's always enjoyed all those things, and you've done a bunch of different things, and we're going to get into them a little bit. But we're going to take a quick time out. Okay, we got to get our commercials in and do all those different things. But we're going to talk a little bit about your Marine Corps, the discipline that you got there, your motivation, your books, your acting, all those different things, as well as Dr. Scott Glenn, Pottstown guy, right here on the VIKINGS Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
At VIKINGS Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. VIKINGS Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of POTTSTOWN Insurance, and we're in your community.
Grab your mug and your kilt and come on down to Doc Watson's. We have great food, drinks, and different bar games. Our nightly specials will keep you coming back for more. Join us Monday through Friday, 4 to 6, for some fun at happy hour with $1 drinks. The pub is newly renovated and under new management. It will surely become your new favorite place. We're located at 1080 East Philadelphia Avenue in Gilbertsville. Doc Watson's, a true Irish pub.
At long last,
Date night has arrived.
and you want to make it something special.
Something romantic
You've heard a lot of great things about Panavino,
in the new downtown district
fine Italian dining,
with a cosmopolitan flair.
drinks before dinner at the bar.
Why not?
Then it's just us.
Savoring the creations of Chef David Brennan.
What's this?
Dinner and a movie for two.
Only $50?
Panavino Italian restaurant
Truly is the beginning of the perfect evening.
in the new downtown Reading.
Score with big savings at Saratoga Thriftway. Our large selection of food, drinks, and household items at great prices will keep you coming back. Stop by the deli and order big party platters so you can be fully prepared for the big game. As always, our friendly staff and fast checkout will make your shopping experience quick and enjoyable. Saratoga Thriftway is celebrating our 14th anniversary of serving the Tri-County area, so stop by and check us out so we can check you out.
This portion of the POTTSTOWN Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by Doc Watson's, a true Irish pub.
Back on the POTTSTOWN Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback, Dave Ryan, joined by my good friend, Dr. Scott Glenn. And again, we're talking about a variety of different things here on set. Obviously, we're going to touch a little bit about football. We're going to talk a little Eagles and of course, his Steelers that he loves over there. But, we're talking a little bit about life and a little bit about different things. And, you also, in your ventures, went into the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people don't understand all that. But, tell us a little bit about how that affected your life as well, Scott.
Well, my father taught me never to put all my marbles into one bag. So after the football aspects, the tryouts and things like that, I wanted to continue to prosper on. I was still young. I wanted to sell my young oats. So I needed a challenge at the young age of 20, 21, 22. So I went into the Marine Corps. I call it the rebirth. I went into the Marine Corps, it just elevated my life, and I never looked back. And it's really jump-started, not just from the way I was raised, the way I was taught at Pottstown High, but it emphasized the super part of me, the super part of my life, to do great things. It motivated me to do great things such as getting my doctorate, and it's still motivating me to do other things such as acting.
Well, it's funny because, you still have, that obviously, that pride thing that you have. That's every service, every branch of the service, but particularly the Marine Corps. You show up at events in your dress colors and things, and I know that's been a big part of your life. And you talk a little bit about books and things that you've wrote, but your motivation and your discipline come from this background of your father, of the Marine Corps. And tell us a little bit about these books that you started out with, particularly the motivation and discipline things.
Well, the love, discipline, and motivation is what it is. I found out in life, the fountain of youth, I found out is based around love. That starts everything. It's the base, understanding what love is. And then with the Marine Corps, with the discipline and the motivation, you add that to understanding love, life becomes a little bit easier. So I base my life, whenever I speak, I do motivational speakings, I base it on love, discipline, and motivation, emphasizing the true types of love, which is unconditional, filial, brotherly, and eros, which is, central, such as my wife. Mm-hmm. that's important to me, and I had a certain aspect in my book, which we'll probably talk about, and I'll break that more in general down later.
Yeah, well, certainly, obviously, it's a very touchy subject and a controversial one, obviously. But while you had dealings at Albright College with Jerry Sandusky's son, and became close with him, and then also you and Jerry Sandusky developed a relationship, and that was part of your book and some things in there. And I still have never been able to wrap my head around this whole thing and that whole business. But tell us a little bit about that. How did you handle that, and how do you tell people about those kind of things, Scott?
Well, I learned in life to take anything negative and make it positive. When I first heard it, I was actually doing a book signing in West Virginia, and it brought tears to my eyes. It kind of broke me down a little bit. But then I said to myself, keep things positive. It's now that you say it, it's hard to believe to this day. So I remember the positive stuff. I will tell you this: he taught me how to stop the power in the ISO. So the football aspects of it, I will never forget that, and I'm thankful for that. The other thing, it has to be a learning point, and that's when I talk about the love. Students have to understand, parents have to understand what love is, and it's not used the wrong way. Love should be used, like I said, in terms of unconditionally, and I'm a religious man, and I believe that starts with God. If you understand who God is, your friendship and your spouse will come naturally. If you try to do those two without God, I think you're going to have problems. That's what I learned, and that's what I know what love is. So therefore, as far as the Sandusky thing, I keep it positive with what he taught me on offense and defense, and just try to move on in life and learn from it, which is a love thing.
Well, and when you talk about the love, you and I have a love for one another for all the things that we've been through together, and we're still positive. Danny Weller, Ronnie Gumbarch, all those guys that we have. But how do you get that message across to people? How do you get that message across to young people who don't quite understand the differences between all that? How do you do that, Scott?
We all have decisions to make. Life's about decisions, and the only thing they have to do is gain the trust in what I'm saying. Gain the trust in what your teachers are telling you, okay? Not everybody's perfect. Not every teacher's perfect. I'm not perfect. But understanding, when I talked about this certain type of love, a certain way to live, the truth, will get students, and not just students, adults, to understand what life's all about. If not, you'll go around chasing your tail trying to figure it out. It's all about love, to me.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, and I know you've researched, you've done a lot of things with other people. Who were some of the influences on you that helped you? I know you're, like you said, you're a very religious guy, and your strong beliefs in God and all those things. But who else has helped to shape and mold your ideals that you carry along with you now?
Like I said, that's a whole bunch of people. My family on both my mom and dad's side were very instrumental. My mother, father, Sage, strongly. My great aunt, my Aunt Babe, who a lot of people know has had an impact on me. My coaches in high school, football and basketball, Coach Weller, Ron Gunbarge, you were like a big brother. Coach Weller was like a father. I still talk to him to this day. Ken Davis has an influence as well as his wife. A lot of people don't know my writing skills comes from English class with Miss Linda Davis. My typing skills, and I type pretty well, come from Miss Maggie Munns. So I remember my teachers, and they're actually in the book that I write, and I give them kudos for the outstanding job that they did.
And it's amazing. And as you get older and you start to decide and you move in all these things, and it's awesome. And you talk a little bit about how you're getting into your acting and all those different things. How does that happen? How does that happen to a guy like Scott Glenn from Walnut Street, from Chestnut Street, from the Ricketts Center, from the Bethany Center? How does that happen?
Looking for the right reason, love. Being around the right people, places, and situations, staying away from drama. That's tough to do sometimes because sometimes you don't have a choice, whether it's at work, whether it's with the family. But I've learned to stay away from drama that may take away from my positive motivation or undermining or anything to that aspect. So I surround myself with good people that are positive, places that are positive, and situations that are positive. When you do that, good stuff comes to you wherever you go. That's how I got into this acting aspects.
Okay. Well, even taking a step backwards, I remember that when you were named the head coach at Unionville High School, and that was a big thing for you. You're the first African-American coach there. You had those guys fired up. I mean, the white shirt, the tie, the pants. I mean, that was the real deal. That was the real deal. And I know you credit a lot of that success with all these things that you had in your background.
Yes, exactly. Unionville High School, very prestigious school. I think it was like voted number one in the state this year. By the way, their football program's still winning. It was a blessing to be there. I never thought I'd be head coach, but my love, discipline, motivation, philosophy is what I taught, not just on the field. It wasn't a cliche. Players still call me. They're living in different parts of the country. I'm getting old now. I see my players going bald with babies. But they're teaching their kids the same philosophy about love, discipline, and motivation. And it's not just about X's and O's. Someone told me, well, you have to win a championship. I said, I'll let you know in 10 years when the kids call me back.
Exactly.
They're winning championships off the field.
Right.
Okay? It was a blessing to be there. I never thought I would be head coach, but I prepared myself to do what was right. Then I was recommended, and good things happened and started there.
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that, because I go to places now and kids still call me Mr. Ridenhour. You know, I'm 56 years old. They're in their 30s, 40s, whatever, still call me Mr. Ridenhour. My sons look at me and say, man, Mr. Ridenhour. I said, Dad, I said, yeah, I taught those guys. And they bring up something from the Boston Tea Party or something, and things that we learned. But as you mentioned, more than just the X's and O's, more than just what's written in that history book, but what I tried to teach those kids, and I think they remember that, and that's an awesome lesson that you do. And I know you were involved with Coachville a little bit while there, and they had some problems over there with some of the things going on there with racism and stuff. And I know that it was hard for you to swallow, hard for you to wrap your head around, because you were a part of all that. But good things are happening over there, and hopefully that's coming around a little bit as well.
Well, again, you have to stay positive and learn from it and move forward. A lot of with this social media stuff. I mean, I'm a United States Marine. Some of the things we said to each other as Marines, if we were to say it over the phone, you would think a certain way too back in the day. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But you have to watch what you say. It's a different age now, but you have to move on and be positive. When those things happen, I was somewhat shocked, but I turned that negative into a positive personally, and Coatesville's still winning. They're like number 2 or 3 in the state.
Well, they're number 1 in District 1, that's for sure. And I tell you what, it's funny. But listen, we got to take another time out. We got some business to do. We want to talk a little bit about football, but we're having such a good time learning a lot about what's going on in your life and all the positive things that are happening. But we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about the Eagles. We do have to look at a couple of things. We have our 5-pack picks, our game balls, and things like that right here on the show. He's Dr. Scott Glenn. I'm Dave Ridenhour. This is the VIKINGS Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
At VIKINGS Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. VIKINGS Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of VIKINGS Insurance, and we're in your community.
This portion of the VIKINGS Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by Security 5 for all your commercial and residential security system needs, and by FUJIYAMA, the total Japanese steakhouse and sushi bar experience, and by Doc Watson's, a true Irish pub.
Man, we're having a lot of fun here, even off camera during the commercial breaks and stuff. It's great to reminisce, and I'm a big guy for reunions and family and stuff, and I know Dr. Scott is the same way, and we're having a great time. But let's talk a little bit about football. Let's change gears here. We do have some things that we have to talk about. I know you don't have a lot of time to spend with football and stuff anymore, but you still have some time. I know you're still a big Steelers fan. Your guys had a pretty good game yesterday. And, but what we normally do is here, we give a game ball. And my buddy Paul Strauss, who does my hair, has been with us since the beginning of the Monday Morning Quarterback. The styling room, there he is. There's my buddy. And he helps to sponsor this portion of our show. He's up at 943 North Hanover Street. You'll see his new shop now. Some lady got her foot stuck on the accelerator, ran right through the front door. They had to redo the whole front of the building. Paul's got it all straightened out now, and he's a good man. But each week we do give a game ball, and I'm sure you have one that you could give out here tonight.
I'm giving it to Big Ben, 600 yards, 500 plus yards, 6 touchdowns. They talked about luck before the game, but Big Ben's the man. 2 times over 500 yards. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. And Pittsburgh looks like they're on all cylinders right now.
Well, you know, it's funny because I listened to Mike Tomlin, the guy who I really like as a coach, and you know, he's come under fire. You know how that just win baby stuff goes, but he said that was one of the most impressive outings that he's ever seen. And as you mentioned, 2 times he's thrown for over 500 yards now and 6 TDs. What do you think about those uniforms, man? The big bumblebees.
Hey, if you're going to do it, go out in style. That's going to definitely make history.
It definitely is. And I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to go with Brady. Tom Brady's my guy, and he came up huge. 5 touchdown passes. He was 30 for 35. Now that Gronkowski is back in the fold, he threw 9 passes to Gronkowski. Gronkowski caught every one of them with 3 touchdowns and 149 yards. So I'm going to give mine to Tom Brady. He's going to give his to Big Ben. So we got the battle of the quarterbacks here for our game balls. But again, I want to thank Paul Strauss and the styling room for making this all happen for us. And, you know, you told me, you were texting me yesterday, watch out for the Cardinals, watch out for the Cardinals. And it looked good for the Eagles for a while, but down the stretch, the Cardinals came back.
Well, Bruce Arians is doing an outstanding job.
Him too.
Probably if you shaved your head and aged about 15 years, you could
look
look like
him.
Bruce. But he's doing a good job. Again, he's a reflection of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Blue-collar team is a reflection of the town in Pittsburgh, and actually, it's showing.
Yeah,
okay?
well, he had a little stint at Temple as well,
Exactly.
so he has some local roots here as well. But I always thought that was sort of a mistake that Pittsburgh let him go, but obviously he had aspirations of being a head coach, and he's doing a heck of a job. It was good to see, even though he was on the opposition, Larry Fitzgerald did a heck of a job. Valley Forge Military.
Right.
Yeah, Valley Forge Military. And we had Aaron Beasley on here last week, and Aaron is an alum as well of the Valley Forge Military. And again, I know your military background as well. How did you choose that you wanted to go into the Marine Corps? What made that decision for you?
Well, I always strive to be the best. And to me, the Marine Corps is the toughest challenge. I didn't want to really be an officer. I wanted to go to Parris Island. I heard so much about it. And like I said, Parris Island was my rebirth. And after that, everything it was a blessing. It extended into where I am now. And I love the Marine Corps.
Well, you should have taken Riddick Bowe down there with you. What he last time, he didn't even make a week, did he?
Oh, no. That's a different ballgame, man.
He didn't even make a week. But you don't hear too many guys say they're looking forward to Parris Island, but you did it. And I remember seeing pictures of you in your uniform and stuff, and that was all good. And, you know, you still work out. Will you work out every day now or what?
I work out probably 5 times a week. I get up about 4:30 in the morning. I like to start my day off.
Well, you have a weight room in
at
your
the house.
Yes.
Yeah. My wife and I, she doesn't do it that early, but I do it that early. I still listen to the same Rocky songs from back in the 80s, the same stuff that motivates and gives me inspiration. I don't change that stuff. It just doesn't change. And I start my day off lifting weights, drink my Vitamix, then I go and I teach love, discipline, and motivation, economics, business, marketing, and everything's good to go.
Yeah, now you're at Penn State, right? Branch campus down in Brandywine.
Yes.
Okay. And how is that? I mean,
I love it.
That. Yeah.
Teaching's just like coaching. They're co-relevant. They go together. You show me an outstanding coach, I see an outstanding teacher, and vice versa. Even though I'm not coaching on the field right now, I say right now because I never count myself out, is because I'm very busy with other aspects such as writing books and teaching at Penn State.
Yeah. Well, you seem to be doing a lot of traveling, too, because every time I see it, and, you know, you talk about the negatives of social media. One of the positives of is Facebook, and I'm able to keep in contact with you and be able to find you when I need to or when you need to see me or talk to me or whatever. But it seems like you're getting around and doing some good stuff traveling and in that way, too.
Yes, whether it's book signings, going down for some acting scenes, motivational speaking, I'm always on the go. Facebook is good. I'm not really a fan of it. I just like to promote my books and the movie aspects because it sends off a bad signal when it's like texting. It's a bad signal sent off. I just like to use it for marketing as well as proper communication, I'd like to say.
Well, now you're working on your 6th book, I think.
Sixth book.
Now, what's the gist of that? What is your main theme of this same sort of thing?
The main theme is leadership. I take a leadership aspect from the beginning of time, people from the biblical days, all the way up through World War II, all the way up till today. I compare and contrast them and see what their positive aspects are that makes them successful. It'll be out somewhere around the holiday.
Okay.
Real good book.
Published by?
Published by Dog Ear Publishing. And no, I'm not a ghostwriter. I write all my books myself. I kind of take offense with that when people ask me if I have a ghostwriter. No, I'm a doctor of education. I write my own books.
Now, when you find you see hear all these stories. A writer goes out in the woods and writes. When do you find you're most inspired, if you will, or when do you do your best writing? How do you do all that?
A lot of times when I'm right next to my wife in bed about 2:30 in the morning, I have a tape recorder. Usually when I'm writing my books, because if I wait till the next day, it won't come out the same way. So I'll talk into the tape recorder. I'll talk into the tape recorder in the car. I'll write on napkins while I'm eating. And it's a spurting thing. A lot of people say, as an author, do you set time away? You have to want to and have it in you to write. It's not consecutive. Sometimes it may be 3 weeks, then you're off 2 weeks. You have to be in the mood. It comes to me. It speaks to me at different times.
Now, how does your wife handle that when she hears you talking into a tape recorder in the middle of the night when she's trying to get some sleep? I mean, you're all good with that.
My wife's good to go.
That's good.
21 years.
So you're not talking in your sleep and whoa, what's going on?
I can tell you some Marine Corps stories.
That's for another time.
Exactly.
We can get into those Marine Corps stories. That's for sure. So you're working on that, and now tell us about your little acting thing. We have some pictures and stuff that we could pop up there as well of what you got with your acting and your directors and things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the acting, this is outstanding. It's a blessing. The one short film from Joe Marr's name is, he's a producer. Probably going to end up in Hollywood. I'm doing a short film with that. That's Edward right there. They call us man, I can't think of it, but some characters. But
okay.
He's in the short film. It's called Joe Master's Grandmaster, and I play Doc Brown. I'm going into the underworld where they're trafficking young women, and I go out and save the women, kind of like my dad, U.S. Marshal type stuff.
Right, yeah.
But that's exciting. There it is, an audition. Actually, that's an audition for Edward. I talked to the producer, Stanzi Stokes, who did The Terminator, and we went out to dinner the night before, and she told Nancy, who the movie's about, this guy doesn't have to act. He's a natural, which I already knew that I was. So I didn't have to act. They just wanted me to fill in and do this part with Edward, who's very good. He does a good Edward Scissorhands as well. So he's an actor. He's going to be in the movie. He's going to play one of the characters in The Quest for Serendipity, which is a book by Nancy Oakley, a.k.a. Nancy Suku from Thailand. Rags the richest story from Thailand to America. She goes through a lot of heartache, but finally makes it successful as an entrepreneur, best-selling author, and now is going to have a major movie about herself.
Well, that's one of the. Is that her there with you?
Yes, that's
okay.
her. At we're doing a co-book signing there. We did well that day. She's a sweet woman. Her and my wife get along well. They're like sisters. And then at the top left, that's Edward in the back. The woman next to her, she's a model. She's outstanding. Jules, her name is Juliana. Very good actor, good model. She's playing one of the cops, or I should say agents, who goes into the underground with me. She's new, she's nervous. We run into a dead body here. That's all I can tell you.
You can't tell us the end of it. And, of course, there you have
right.
my man with the bow tie on there looking
right.
good and dressed to impress. But
right.
it's amazing, Scott, and we knew from a long time ago that you were destined to do some great things. And I'm the same as you. I want to have an impact. I want to impact people. I want to try to help people out, as I try to do here on my show and as the president of the Hall of Fame, and keep all that stuff going. And you're very active and all that, and had a great picture of you and Johnny Thorpe and Joey Allen on Facebook today, and there's three of POTTSTOWN's good ones, man, that's for sure. So you got the book, you got the acting. What else now? What else you want to do? You want to jump out of an airplane? You want to bungee jump in the Andes? You got your bucket list rolling. What else is going on?
Well, it's funny that you say that, Dave. I don't have a bucket list. I believe in being prepared, preparation. I believe in love, discipline, and motivation. You don't have to write a list. If you do what's right, the list will come to you. A lot of times I find, especially coaches, they have a list of things they want to do, and they start to force that list to come. And by any means necessary, they'll do anything to fill that bucket list, which can be bad. But if you prepare yourself, right, and understand what love is, and you do what's right, or try to, that bucket list will take care of itself.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Now, as a POTTSTOWN guy, what kind of messages do you have for POTTSTOWN kids? We talked a little bit about POTTSTOWN's football team not doing well. They don't have a lot of kids out. You go around town, you see the plight of our town and the way it was when you were growing up, and you had your aunts and your uncles and all the people there that took care of you, and your dad's not around, whatever. What do you think? Give me your little outlook on all this, and how do you handle all that?
Well, again, we have choices. You know, there's no excuses. We have choices. We all have choices. And it's based on understanding what love is. You know, it's not a culture where I'm going to get selfish culture where I get where all I can get. I don't care about anybody or make an excuse. Mom's not here, dad's not here. There are people in place that can help you. You have to want to make the choice to go get that help, and you have to take a step forward. It's not going to come fast like this microwave world that we live in. Nobody's going to give you anything. You look at me now, I have a house with cars and things. They're just stuff that's not important in my life. They're just blessings to have. That stuff comes and goes. And like I said, you do what's right, those things come. But I worked hard for it. My wife worked hard for it. You worked hard for it. Nobody gave it to us. But we stayed on the path. We weren't always perfect, but we did what was right. We were around the right people, places, and situations, and then it comes to you. Nobody's going to give you anything. You have to be motivated, understand what love is, and go out and get it. Life is good.
It is good. And again, you know, like I said, and you said it perfectly there. I said, no one's perfect. I'm far from perfect, and certainly had things to overcome in my life, and I was fortunate that people were able to give me another chance at different things. As when I stumbled, people were there to help me to get back up, but you got to get up off that canvas, and you got to brush yourself off and can't feel sorry for yourself. You mentioned the fact that, you know, you can't make excuses, you know, and I heard Charles Barkley say, I don't want anybody to tell me I can't become the governor of Georgia because I'm an African American. I want to be the governor of Alabama. You want to do what your thing is because of your stuff. And I heard today, you know, about Marshawn Lynch was complaining that Russell Wilson's not black enough, and I don't know what that means, and I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, how do you take that, Scott, when somebody says something like that? What is that?
Well, that's a discombobulation of a certain culture. And if we're not educated and raised the right way, we can fall into that category, that group. I once had students tell me, hey, Dr. Glenn, this is how we wear our pants and this is what blacks do. I'm like, no, that's not what blacks do. That's what you do, you know. And it's a culture and it's accepted, you know. And like, again, it's not an excuse where the parents aren't there. We have to continue as adults, as teachers, and teachers cannot be afraid to tell students to pull their pants up. You can't get in trouble for telling a student to pull their pants up. And I think nowadays teachers are afraid to say something because they're afraid of the culture. Right is right and wrong is wrong. That never changes. They have their pants down like that, tell them to pull it up, do something about it. It's indecent exposure. Give them a ticket, fine them. Sooner or later something will happen.
Yeah, like I said, it's a shame, too, that we don't have more time. I'm going to have to get you back on here again. We got a couple more Monday nights left in us, but we're going to get you back and find out some more things. It's always great to get to talk to you. I always feel grounded. I always feel proud. I always feel a lot of things, a lot of emotions run through me when I talk to you and some of my old guys. And I know our old buddy Jeffrey Satterway lost his wife recently, and you know, he gave me a big hug and he told me he was so glad that I showed up there at the funeral and things. I mean, that kind of stuff you never forget, and you never get over those things. But it's always great to talk to you, Scott, and we'll stay together and do this. And you're going down to see Danny in the spring.
Probably in the spring,
in
yes.
the spring,
yes.
all right, because I'm going to be down there maybe in February. So maybe we can hook up and we'll storm the gates there in Fort Myers, PA, where or in FLA, I should say, where Danny Weller is. But again, I want to thank Dr. Scott Glenn, a guy who has really made a great thing out of his life from POTTSTOWN area, and he's keeping on going with that, and we're very, very proud of him. And again, I'm proud to say he's a friend of mine. That's for darn sure. For Dr. Scott Glenn, I'm Dave Ridenour, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Thanks for watching.